Shea, how you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing well, man. A big day for LSU football recruiting, and with no sports, I'll take it. I'll take any time that LSU fans are happy and not mad every time that I'm writing about something.
That is a great point, Shea. And of course, we're talking about Walker Howard, Jamie Howard's son, committing to LSU. Howard is actually the highest ranked pro style quarterback commitment since the Tigers had Jamarcus Russell in 2003. I saw you put that out there earlier today. And so a lot of LSU fans already know Walker Howard, but kind of talk about his skill set because we haven't seen him play a lot on the field. He's still a young football player. This is, of course, for the class of 2022.
Yeah, I mean, he plays at STM, but he was behind Caleb Holstein, who signed with Louisiana Tech. STM won a state title, and Caleb was a senior. So obviously now with him gone, Walker Howard has 2 years of the stage to himself. And look, we've seen him throw. He went to Bama, A&M, LSU camps last summer, and he threw well. I mean, he was throwing just as well as guys who were about to be rising seniors. And all of those teams offered him then and even since then and before, obviously, LSU's made him a massive priority, the biggest priority for them at quarterback in this class. And you said it, and you hit the nail on the head, and it's big for a number of reasons, and we'll talk about it. But since 2003, Jamarcus Russell, that was the last pro-style quarterback who finished as like a top 50 range guy. And you look at where Walker Howard is now, I think he's number 62 overall on 24/7, and still 2 years to go of starting, high school football, 20-something games. So he's got a chance to move himself up even more. And we're used to them hitting every few years on Matt Flynn, Jarrett Lee, Miles Brennan, Max Johnson. All these guys were ranked 150 to 200. I mean, right across that level. So for them to be back-to-back right now, considering Garrett Nussmeier was a top 100 quarterback, going sort of in the right direction, in my opinion, of not having to wonder anymore, can you find a quarterback late, but more setting things up for the future to where class after class, you've actually got a really talented arm.
Shea, is this the most setup you've seen the LSU quarterback room since, 2003 when you mentioned Jamarcus Russell and Matt Flynn and Ryan Perilou? Is this the best situation LSU's been in that room since then?
Well, without a doubt, and for a number of reasons. Most importantly, the offense changed, and with that change came an identity. Like forever, LSU fans were like, "Well, you're recruiting a dual threat guy and a pro style guy," and I know often that can blend together. And some guys are both, but it was evident that they didn't really know which way they were going. And I'm talking back from the 2000s on, and now it seems that they're pretty committed to a similar style of player, which is a pocket pro style quarterback who also beyond TJ Finley, who's 6'6", 240 and playing in Louisiana. They're running on a string of guys right now who have football ties, pretty notable ones, through their family. They got brought up on football, whether Garrett Nussmeier's dad obviously has been a player and a quarterback and then a coach in college and the NFL, and Max Johnson's dad obviously won a Super Bowl. Joe Burrow's dad was pretty well known this past year. So I get the sense that they've kind of found the type of quarterback that they want. Walker Howard, whose father was a quarterback in the SEC.
Yeah, Shea, you're alluding to it there, but I'll kind of follow up. Is there a coincidence that all these guys come from bloodlines, or is that something that the coaching staff really likes?
No, I think that's something they like, and I think often too, and it's just a tie-in, but when you've got bloodlines and your parents are involved in coaching, you've got connections with people, Bill Bush to Joe Burrow's father, or Nussmeier, working with multiple, or at least being around multiple members of LSU staff during his career and playing days. So I think that plays a part in it, but no, I think this is a focus. I think what comes with that hunt perhaps is a quarterback who's well coached, who is has a good grip on fundamentals and kind of what it means to be a quarterback. And when you've got that, when you're in 9th or 10th grade, you sort of stand out from the pack. And because of that, I think that's why they're kind of simultaneously recruiting some of the highest ranked quarterbacks, but also some guys who do have bloodlines and grew up around the game.
So we know that the class of 2021, which Walker Howard's a 2022 guy, is heavy on receivers in state, and LSU's going out of the state for most of the other stuff. What about the class of 2022? And is Walker Howard the kind of guy who can be, a unifying piece to that in-state class?
I think that might be beyond his talent the biggest thing that comes from this commitment. And look, here's why. And you noted it. This cycle, they're going out of state a lot. I think they only have 2 commitments from Louisiana. This past cycle, they only signed 5 guys from Louisiana. Like, that's a major shift from Les Miles was consistently signing 10 to 15 guys from Louisiana. So Orgeron has made a point to not neglect Louisiana at all. Like, when you think about Orgeron, you think Louisiana first, but he's going after the best guys. Now, in 2022, think of this kind of stat line here and get a grip for how good the class is right now in this 20 recruiting class. LSU has, I think, offers out to 5 or 6 guys in Louisiana. These kids are about to be seniors. For the 2022 class, Walker Howard just committed to, these guys just finished their sophomore year. They have 12 offers out, and all of them would be committable because they're talented kids. So if you've knocked one domino down in the quarterback for the class, and they've got another out of Shreveport, shout out to the 318 and Dakotas Crawford at Green Oaks, they've got some guys. Dominoes are starting to drop in Louisiana. 2 of the 10 guys now that they've offered are committed to him. But, boy, you've got at Neville, Walker Howard's one of his closest friends, Will Campbell, who is the number 3 offensive tackle in the country, has played left tackle for 2 years. Will have started for 4 years at one of the state's best schools. Louisiana doesn't have that often. Lael Collins, those types don't come around a ton in Louisiana, just like the quarterbacks don't. So you start dropping these dominoes like that, a left tackle, a quarterback, some of these defensive linemen and other skill players for next year. And boy, they're going to make a run with a push for the number 1 class, but built off of a lot of homegrown talent, which would remind us probably of like back in the 2011 days.
Shea, as we go to this class for 2021, what's the recruiting plan, do you think, to finish up? Because it seemed like last year they tried to get as many commitments at the beginning as they could. This year really feels like they're taking their time with 12 commitments, and here we are. We're in June, and you've still got plenty of room left in your class. And so how do you think those last offers will go out? Because we know, like you mentioned, Louisiana, they've got top targets, but it's not a lot of them.
Yeah, I think when you look around the state at kind of what's still out there, I think a guy, Jordan Gilbert at U-High, jumps out as a potential safety. There's some prospects in North Louisiana and even in the New Orleans area that some of these receivers they haven't offered. But I think that you look at, most importantly for them, they look at Chris Hilton and Brian Thomas, at Zachary and Walker, and say, okay, those are 2 more wide receivers we want to drop in state. And the number 1 player in the state's Mason Smith down in Thibodaux on the defensive line, and a 5-star at that. So he's a massive piece. And after already getting Savion Jones, I think that Sage Ryan, a lot of people at LCA consider him to be almost a lock, given that he's blood. He's uncles are Kevin and Trev Falk. But that would give them the core group, right? And beyond that, if they offer a couple of more guys, that might be it for Louisiana. But I look around and he wants to build on a D-line class, Coach O, that already is off to a nice start with about 3 guys. That might double by the end of it. And you needed some safeties. They already got it. We'll see what Corey Raymond does at corner. I don't think it's a massive need. And everybody's watching offensive line, and most notably offensive tackle, because I think that's the one thing in this class that they don't already have, that it's a must to get 2, maybe 3, and you'd feel great edge guys that can play on the left or right that you feel good about, that aren't guys that one day you have to slide inside.
It's the question we probably get the most here on this show. Whenever we bring up recruiting, it is, where are the offensive tackles going to come from? Garrett Dellinger is a guy from Michigan. The LSU looks like they're in the lead right now. He's the 16th ranked tackle in the country. Is LSU, 1, still on the lead for Dellinger, and 2, what's some other names LSU fans can pay attention to?
Right. So Garrett Dellinger, a Michigan kid, top 100. He would qualify as what you want. You're looking for, an elite level tackle. He's it. He's going to announce on June 24th. Now, LSU's had the lead forever. At this point, it's just about holding off Michigan, the in-state program. The Wolverines offered his little brother a scholarship. They've been after him hard, but I think LSU holds off, and that's based off conversations both around here and with folks in the Midwest and around Dellinger's camp. So that would be domino one. But from there, the Brockermeyers in Texas, two brothers, one of them's an offensive tackle. They're after them hard. Tristan Lee might be the name we talk about the most. He's down to, not publicly, but a lot of people think he's going to wind up at Clemson or LSU. He's from Virginia. He's been around LSU a bunch. He's a five-star offensive tackle. And there's others, and we'll see new offers come. Savion Byrd, a kid in Texas, a five-star, has LSU in his top group with SMU, but he's a Dallas kid, and a lot of his teammates and buddies are headed to play for the Mustangs. So there's guys out there, but it's the million-dollar question of, they do a great job recruiting D linemen and skill players and now quarterbacks and really everywhere on the defensive side, but can you consistently recruit offensive tackles that end up being kind of game changers for you? And I think this is a big class to kind of figure that question out.
We can't lose players to SMU or Michigan. I mean, Jim Harbaugh, weak chin, baby cakes in those khakis. We got to beat Michigan out, Shea.
I think that they will. The other one's a battle, though. SMU, LSU's a battle. I'll say this about Savion Byrd. This is a big-time player out of Duncanville. A lot of people say, and he may well sign with SMU again, people on his coaching staff have a son on the SMU staff, so it's ties galore. But everyone says, I'll be surprised if he didn't commit to SMU. I'd be surprised if he signed with SMU. So long way to go till signing day. We'll see what happens.
All right, one more for Shea Dixon, 247 Sports. We always appreciate Shea hopping on with us. You can catch his work at go247.com. When you look at the state of Louisiana, it really seems like for the last couple of seasons, it's been a little bit down compared to what we're used to. Is there anything in the future that's going to make you believe that Louisiana will kind of get back to what we know it to be one of those states like per capita is the top in recruiting?
Yeah, I mean, I think next year's 2022 class has that chance just because there's so many high-profile level guys. I think there's 14 or 15 kids who just finished their sophomore year that are already ranked in the top 300 from Louisiana. So that will be their chance to really get back into double-digit Louisiana commits, and Coach O will be more than happy if that's the case. And then I think that will translate. We'll see, but we're already hearing good things about the 2023 class. Obviously, Eli Holstein, who's about to be the quarterback at Zachary, just grabbed an offer from LSU. They have another LSU offer out in that class as well to Jamie Buxton, a defensive lineman. So it seems that after a couple of years where it kind of lacked the deep kind of nature of what Louisiana classes normally are, at least top-heavy wise, I think that these kids that are about to be juniors and sophomores in high school will be the time that it kind of shifts back to what we're used to.
All right, he is Shea Dixon, 247 Sports. Shea, we always appreciate it, brother.
All right, my guys. Thanks for having me on, and I will continue to enjoy the rest of the show.